Good morning, Fargo. Tony Gehrig, Fargo City Commissioner, and I'm doing a video here not as a recap, but as a what to watch for next, what's going to be happening next year in the city of Fargo at the coming meetings. This is the first time I'm doing this type of video, but I think it's useful just to give a heads up to the people on what's going to be happening next. And I have 3 items right now to share with you. And the biggest one would be the budget. This time of year, every year, we go through and crunch the numbers and see where we're at, what the revenues coming in are, what the expenditures we expect to go out, how many people we should hire, how many more road projects. Everything local government does is fit into our budget, and we go ahead and debate, what should stay and what should go. And that's why I'm sitting here with my red pen here today, is to point out some of the things that should go, in my opinion. So, specifically to property taxes, as most of you know who own property, your valuations have gone through the roof. And as over the last few years, we've kept your mill the same, which means if your values go up and the mills stay the same, that means you're paying more in property taxes. Make no mistake about that. So there's 2 parts of your property tax: your valuations and the mills that we charge you. Last year we reduced some mills, and this year I want to do that again because the valuations have gone up so much. Valuations went up over 12%. Okay, I should say the amount we're taking in is going up over 12%. Valuations went up about 7%, and new buildings account for about 5% of that 12%. So I asked the City Commission to cut 7% out of the mills, which are about 3.5 to almost 4 mills, to reduce that. So we still see an increase in the budget. We still see an increase in how much the city is taking in through property taxes based on new properties, not based on how much more your home is worth. And I think that's a responsible thing to do. That's about 5%, which is a very, very strong increase. That was shot down, and the mayor initially wanted to give a 0% mill levy drop. Then he came around after some meetings with other commissioners and myself, had a 2 mill reduction, which is about 4 to 4.5%. I would really like to see that at a 3 mill reduction. I think we can easily do it, and I have found some common sense ways to reduce the budget in order to make that happen and to give you all more relief for your property taxes. One of those easy things to do is to cut the Link FM. It's a $100,000 project for the city of Fargo per year, and hardly anyone uses it. It's one of the worst performing bus routes in the city of Fargo. In fact, it's the 2nd worst. About 5 people an hour use it. So I've always said we could hire an Uber driver, and he could drive around for far less and do the exact same thing we're doing there. So things like that are very easy to cut. For example, and one more example is the commission's travel budget is $100,000 a year. I don't know where we're going for $100,000 a year, but that seems extremely high. There's some simple things we can cut that would not affect services, pay or benefits, manning. It won't affect any of those safety concerns that we have with fire and police. They are very common sense ways, and we'll find out how that goes at the coming meetings here. So stay tuned for the budget discussions, and I'll probably be writing an op-ed and going on TV and talking about that a little bit more as well. Another thing that we're doing is the Tax Exempt Review Committee is doing some changes, and I talked about this a little bit in the last video as a teaser for this video, but we're basically trying to open up how much we're trying to give out in incentives, where I think we should start to restrict. We've been giving incentives out for a very, very long time. We have explosive growth in the city of Fargo. You don't need to give away money to someone who's already going to come here anyway. You don't need to give away money for developing in downtown, the most valuable land in the state of North Dakota, without oil underneath it. They come here because it's the best place for them. You also don't need to be giving away new home abatements. Okay, so for new home abatements, as most of you know, if you build a home in South Fargo, you get a 2-year abatement on your property taxes. That sounds fantastic. However, what most people don't know is when your neighbor doesn't pay their taxes, you pay their taxes. Those taxes don't go away. You pay for those. So it's a system that can't be sustained. It's a system that works against our other systems. So we're incentivizing downtown growth. We're also incentivizing growth in South Fargo. So if you incentivize everything, or if you subsidize everything, are you really incentivizing anything? And the answer is clearly no. And by doing this, we're raising everybody's property tax bill. My bill is $500 higher per year based solely on incentives, which is a dramatic amount of money for a lot of people. So we can have a lower, sustainable, predictable tax rate that will encourage growth and that's what we should be doing. Something else to look at, which is kind of a different look for a lot of people, is if you think about it, you have one option for your electric company. XL or Cass County are your options, and if you live in South Fargo or North Fargo or different parts of Fargo, you have that one option. Those companies pay for that right. They pay to have a monopoly. They give the city of Fargo a certain amount of money, and we say that no one else can compete with them. Now think about Cable One. What happened when Cable One lost their exclusive rights? Mid-Continent came in and stole about half their business because people were unhappy with the amount they were paying and with the service. The same is true for every company out there, whether it be electric companies, whether it be your grocery store, whether it be anything. So people want options, and we don't necessarily have to lose money as the city of Fargo. When we get money from these electric companies, okay, we get, let's say $500,000 per year from the company to have exclusive rights. They simply raise their rates in order to make that up, and that's not a question. That's a fact. So it's a hidden tax. We as a city feel great because we're making a bunch of money for the people of Fargo. On the back end, that company is doing what any company would do, and they're charging you just a little bit more in order to make up that loss. So it's a hidden tax on you that you probably never even thought about. So monopolies are bad, and government is the driver of monopolies. So I'm looking to end that system, have an open and free market where you can choose your electric company no matter where you live in the city of Fargo. It's absolutely attainable, and that is going to be a discussion and debate that your commissioners are going to have in the coming meetings. So that's your update for what's going to be coming next on the horizon. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, and keep paying attention to how your commissioners are spending your dollars. Thank you.